Episode 6 of Lucky shifts the story from Lucky running for her life to Lucky trying to control what happens next. After obtaining Cary's seed phrase, she uses the information as leverage and negotiates with Agent Rand for protection for herself and John. At the same time, Lucky is forced to confront the damage her father caused while growing up. The episode focuses on family, freedom, and the difference between protecting someone and controlling them. The episode begins with Lucky and John being taken into a boardroom, where they wait for Rand and Gates. John fills the time by telling stories about his past, including how he first got involved in scams and how Lucky made her first theft when she was only 7 years old. These stories remind us that Lucky didn't slowly discover crime as an adult. She was introduced to it when she was a child and grew up treating it as part of normal life. When Rand arrives, Lucky immediately takes control of the conversation. She refuses to give up the cryptocurrency seed phrase unless she receives immunity and John gets his sentence reduced. Rand refuses at first because she wants something much bigger than the money. She wants Priscilla and Whittaker, the people behind the larger criminal operation. This is an important change for Lucky. Earlier in the series, she was constantly reacting to other people's plans. Now she has something everyone else wants, which gives her power. The seed phrase is no longer simply a way to access money. It becomes a bargaining tool that allows Lucky to decide what happens next. After Lucky and John are moved to a hotel, they finally have time to discuss what they'll do if the deal succeeds. Lucky wants to use the money to buy their freedom and leave everything behind. John, however, wants to keep the fortune. Their argument reveals how differently they see the life they shared. John believes the money represents everything he worked for, while Lucky sees it as another chain keeping them connected to the criminal world. She's tired of running and wants a chance at a normal life. This disagreement also shows how differently they remember Lucky's childhood. John believes he gave his daughter a good upbringing, but Lucky remembers growing up surrounded by fear and crime. She never had the opportunity to choose that lifestyle for herself. The episode therefore questions what parents owe their children. John may have believed he was preparing Lucky to survive, but he was actually making decisions that shaped her entire life before she was old enough to make those decisions herself. Lucky then reveals that she helped the FBI build its case against Priscilla. That cooperation eventually led to John's arrest after Rand failed to keep her original promise. John becomes angry and accuses Lucky of trusting the FBI and taking away everything he had. This creates one of the episode's strongest themes: the difference between family loyalty and personal freedom. Lucky loves John, but she's beginning to understand that loving someone doesn't mean allowing them to control your life. For years, she believed protecting her father was part of her responsibility. Now she's questioning whether that responsibility was ever hers to begin with. John later tries to provoke Rand by criticizing her parenting. Rand responds by admitting that her career may have come before her own child, but she points out that she never turned her child into something she could use for her own benefit. This is an important contrast between Rand and John. Both parents have made mistakes, and both allowed their careers to affect their children. However, John actively brought Lucky into his criminal world and taught her how to survive through deception. The conversation forces John to consider his responsibility for Lucky's life. He has always described his actions as protection, but Rand makes him question whether he was actually protecting Lucky or simply making her useful to him. This is one of the few moments where John can't easily defend himself. For once, someone makes him look at his actions from Lucky's point of view. Lucky then meets Priscilla at the stables and tells her that she'll only give up the money if Priscilla arranges a meeting with Whittaker. Priscilla argues that Lucky can't escape the life she was born into, but Lucky turns that argument back on her. Their conversation connects the two women in an interesting way. Both have spent years being controlled by powerful men. Priscilla has allowed Whittaker to dictate her choices, while Lucky has spent much of her life following John's lessons. The difference is that Lucky is beginning to recognize the pattern. She understands that being loyal to someone doesn't mean surrendering your independence. By demanding to meet Whittaker herself, she refuses to let Priscilla or the FBI make the decision for her. Before the meeting with Whittaker, Lucky gets another chance to speak with John. This time, their conversation is very different. John finally admits that he should never have raised Lucky around crime. He explains that after her mother died, he was left to raise her alone, but he acknowledges that his choices caused serious damage. Most importantly, John tells Lucky that he's proud of the way she became different from him. This allows the two of them to finally reconcile. The scene is important because John doesn't try to justify his actions. Instead, he accepts that he failed Lucky. For Lucky, hearing her father admit this gives her something she has been missing throughout the series: recognition that what happened to her wasn't her fault. Their hug doesn't erase everything John did, but it shows that their relationship can finally exist without pretending that the past was acceptable. With Priscilla agreeing to arrange the meeting, Rand and her team begin preparing for Lucky's confrontation with Whittaker. They study the location from above, plan where the agents will be positioned, and place a hidden microphone inside Lucky's jacket. John also gives Lucky a final warning about Whittaker and his influence over Priscilla, but Rand overhears the conversation. Unlike earlier in the episode, Rand listens to him. She understands that John has knowledge that could help keep Lucky alive. This preparation shows the difference between Lucky's earlier escapes and the situation she's entering now. She can't simply improvise her way out if something goes wrong. Whittaker is more powerful and organized than the people Lucky has dealt with before. For the first time, Lucky is walking into danger with an actual plan and the FBI behind her. While Lucky prepares for the meeting, John remains at the hotel with Gates. The two spend some time playing cards, and Gates begins to become more comfortable around him. However, the mood changes when Gates hears something outside. He investigates and is suddenly attacked by an armed man. Gates manages to shoot one attacker, but is seriously wounded. Another man approaches and shoots him in the head. The attackers then move toward John's room, firing at the door before forcing it open. The scene is important because it shows that someone already knows where John is being held. The FBI's plan is no longer completely secret, and the attack suggests that Whittaker's organization has more information and reach than Rand expected. Gates' death also makes the upcoming meeting much more dangerous. Lucky is about to walk into a situation where the people protecting her may already be compromised. Episode 6 marks an important change in Lucky's relationship with her past. She finally confronts John about the childhood he gave her, but instead of completely rejecting him, she accepts his apology and begins to separate her love for him from the life he created for her. At the same time, she takes control of the money and uses it to make her own deal with the FBI. Lucky is still surrounded by the consequences of her family's choices, but for the first time, she is starting to make decisions based on what she wants rather than what John or anyone else expects from her. The question now is whether she can keep that control when she comes face to face with the person who has been controlling Priscilla and the criminal operation from the beginning. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.